Okay, we've got a couple of people jumping in. Welcome, everybody. We're going to give it just another minute or two, wait for people to hop into the call, and then we're going to jump in. We're super excited to be here today. We have a lot to show off. Actually, there's so much that we won't even be able to show everything that's been released over the past month. So we're going to try to get through it all. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to throw them into the chat or into the Q&A so that we can kind of chat through those today. But we're super pumped to kind of walk through the system. We'll give it another minute or two before really launching for everybody to kind of get in. Okay, well, welcome to our monthly recently released features webinar. We have so many features to talk about today. Me and Brooklyn, when we were preparing for the webinar this month, we were even saying, do we have enough time to talk through all of these features that we have to go over? You've probably been getting messages about the September spotlights, so features and things that we're focusing on this month. As we're kind of working through the system with our development and everything, it has been really exciting. Even today, we did another release that I don't know that we're even get to talk about many of those features today, but some really big stuff that people have been asking for is coming, or it's here in the system. So we're super excited to talk to you about it today. Um, be sure as we go, like always, feel free to throw your questions in the Q&A session if you'd like. You can put it in the message in the chat as well. Sometimes it's a little easier if they're all in the Q&A, but if that chat is easier for you, feel free to throw them there as well. Also, tell us if you're excited about something. You know, we want to know. We want to know what features that you're pumped about, that it's exciting to show off to our customers. We like to share those with our team. Brooklyn, if you want to, do you want to go ahead and grab that link? So that feature request link that we shared last month, if you want to grab that and throw that in the chat so that we can send that out again. A lot of the features that we're building are coming from features that our customers are telling us about. So when it comes to development, everyone here I think is very familiar with how we work as a company. But when it comes to development, we build basically what the people tell us that they want. So as people are talking to us about things, we're documenting that every single time, every single conversation, every single chat, we're documenting all of that in our system. So that when we have time on our roadmap, what we're picking from is items that people are talking to us about. So thank you. All of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today comes from our customers telling us the features and the functionality that they want to see in the system. If you have not done it before, do take advantage of that link that Brooklyn just shared. It's our portal link where you can go in and you can directly submit any features or functionality that you would like to see in the system. You can also upvote other features and functionality that's there. The super great part about utilizing that is that once something is released, so some of you may have gotten some notifications today. Once something is released, we're able to send out a notification that to everybody that's like attached to that feedback so that you know when that feature that you want is ready and it is now live in the system. So that's super exciting. We are going to walk through a bunch today. Feel free to throw your stuff into the chat. But we are going to kick off with Brooklyn. So Brooklyn's going to share her screen to kick us off.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. I just sent out the link as Shannon mentioned, so hopefully I did it correctly this time and everyone received it. But yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback. Click the link and you'll be able to upvote or submit ideas. And then I'll go ahead and share and we'll dive right in. As Shannon mentioned, we have a lot to cover. So I will kick us off here. And some of the features will be kind of more of a highlight, of course, instead of a deep dive, just to allow us to have as much time possible to get through everything. So let me go ahead and share. Alrighty. Okay. So we're gonna kick off with an update. We heard a lot of feedback on just reducing clicks and steps to access the download of the portal. And so if you remember prior, you'd have to click the share portal within the workroom and kind of process and go to get that download link. So we've allowed that to be kind of a quick access now within the hover card. So whenever you are hovering over an event within this event list, you'll now see the option to download the PDF. It does have to be published at least once for us to have access to that portal download. So just keep that in mind. If it's a brand new event, you've never published it, you might not see that yet in the hover card, but you'll be able to click that. You can then go here to download the PDF. It'll tell you it's downloading for just a minute, and then it'll populate for us to have access to that. While that's being pulled up here, here we go. So we have quick access. You can also now have quick access if you're within the workroom itself. We kind of pulled this out as well to be a download PDF button within the actual workroom. So same experience, just depends on where you're working, where you want to grab the download. And so that's one update that we've made there based off feedback. And then another feedback request that we got with kind of this event list view and creating new events is going to be around payment templates. So we've released an update that will now allow you to easily apply your payment templates that you've created into your new event flow. So when you go to create a new event, the slide out will appear as you all are familiar with. There'll be various inputs that you can, add your details around. But the newest one is going to be down at the bottom with this payment template. So you will fill in the details. So I'll just create one here. Let's say what's today's date? 10th. We'll go ahead and pick that as our date. And then I already have a payment template. You do have the option to also, of course, select none. So if you do not wish to have a payment template in there, that's no problem. But this will go ahead and pull in depending on what template you want to use. As we create this event, it'll pull through, and then those payments will autofill based off how you have your template set up. So just a way to kind of reduce down some steps, and you don't have to add the template once the event is created. You can start it right from the very beginning. So yeah, some exciting things happening there. We also, I'm going to jump us over into our inquiries and cover a handful of updates around our forms before I pass it back to Shannon. So let me click into inquiries. So one of the first updates is you now have the ability to merge form submissions. If you came from our classic software, you're probably familiar with kind of that capability. So you can now merge forms into previously created events. A lot of folks might utilize this if they have like follow-up forms, or maybe the customer filled out a different type of form and you want all those details gathered within the event. So we have merging forms into previously created events, and then also the ability to disconnect that inquiry from the event if you perhaps maybe added it to the wrong one. So I'm going to click into one of these inquiries here, and we'll kind of cover those features. So you'll see there's some new buttons up here. We now have merge into an existing event. So if I have Kelsey's form here and I want to add this into an event I already have in my system, it'll now let me search and select what event I want to add it to. So if I want to add this form, let me just click the first one. It will kind of prompt me to let me know, hey, these different fields will override these properties. So it will kind of give you a heads up before you take any action. But if you want to move forward with that, it'll replace your current details with what's in the form. If it's the same kind of contact information, of course, that wouldn't override. It will recognize that and it won't show you these particular properties that are conflicting. But if I merge this into the form, it will pull it over into my event. I also had some notes here within this form that I wanted to point out here because that's also another update as I move us into the workroom. The inquiry form notes now are visible within the workroom. So let's go to the event here. I'm going to click in. We can access that form within our overview kind of pop out. We have inquiries over on the far right. It's going to show me my entire form. Again, this is the one that we just merged into this event. And then now I have those inquiry notes available as well for referencing. So really helpful. A lot of times folks might want to take notes. They're doing like inquiry calls before the event. They're taking notes on that inquiry itself. And then it'll pull through over here that you can have access to. For any reason, if you don't no longer want Kelsey being tied to this event, we can actually go back into that inquiries. We'll see that this was converted. If I click back into her inquiry here, I now, instead of being able to have the option to merge it, I can disconnect it. It will tell me, that this is being disconnected. I can do so. And then it resets this so that I can now actually assign this inquiry to a new event or a different event altogether that I might have. So just some different options there to give you more control over these inquiries coming in, where you want them to be assigned to, and then accessing that information within the workroom itself. So some exciting updates, all based off of feedback, as Shannon said. We love hearing your all's thoughts of how we can enhance the system. So thanks for providing us with those insights there. And then that will cover it for the inquiries and forms. And then I'm going to pass it over to Shannon and she'll take us into the workroom.
Okay, let me share my screen. Right. So I jumped into the San Diego Wine and Culinary Event Center. Someday we will actually have this event instead of keep pushing it into the future. So this is the one that we're going to use today. There's a couple of features that we're going to kind of walk through together. The first one, I'm going to start over here in regards to your media library. So I'm just going to click in here. There's a lot of places you can access your media library from. I'm going to click here and click replace image. So something to note is that now you are able, so say that I'm going to be in, let me find one that's got a couple of different photos in here. So if I'm in this branding photo shoot um, thing right here, if I click out of this one, it will now remember where you were before. So if you're navigated to a certain portion of a certain folder within your event and you want to keep them, if you want to keep using those ones that are in that specific folder, it is now going to remember where you were and jump you right back into that same section. The other thing that is now possible in the system is you now have the ability to delete folders. So I'm going to delete that one. Just go ahead and click delete on there. You can now delete folders within your media library, which is an exciting update in the system. The other thing that is now updated is this is a common piece of feedback. I feel like I heard it from a lot of people. If I was down here, maybe I'm down here in this section, if you happen to click on the proposal here, if I just click in here, it would push you to the top of the proposal. Or maybe that I wanted to pull up an image that's here or something. If I want to click on anything, it would always push you up to the top of the proposal. Well, now if you click somewhere, it's not going to push you to the top of the proposal. It allows you to kind of stay where you are, um, and kind of keep your place whenever you're navigating through the system. In here, it says the next thing is um, once you have the next thing that was really requested is now you're going to see next to your line items, you are going to have the ability to make edits to your line items from here on the dashboard. So if I see that I've got this hors d'oeuvres line, I'm going to click on that pencil icon. That's going to open up right here so that I can make any sort of changes to my line items, anything that I may want to put in here. Um, in order to change this. So I'm going to change this from 150, we're going to change it to 200. You know, anything that you want to change about that line item, you can do from right here in that slide out. That also includes the recipe. You can fully manage that line item right here from the portal tab, which was highly requested. There was a lot of people that were asking for that. The other thing that is now updated in the portal is going to be the ability to put tokens within the names of containers. So, for example, on this inspiration container, for the header, I want it to actually be the event name, and for the subtitle, I want it to be the date of the event. So, for the header, I want it to be the name. This For the subtitle, I want it to be the date. So, if I hop over to client preview, you can see it is going to fill in with the name of the event along with the date of the event right here as well. So something that would be really nice if you have a certain setup or whatever that you like to use, go back to your template that's on your event dashboard. Go ahead and utilize those tokens in those different sections so that it will automatically be named every time that you're creating a new event. But now you can do that. Now, on all of the sections, you have the ability to put tokens in there if there's something that you would want to consistently use in those containers. That is possible. Okay. We are going to jump over to the orders tab. So I'm going to hop over here to the orders tab and we're going to jump over here to the component view. So here on the component view, one of the pieces that we're going to look at is going to be if I slide all the way over here to the right, you're going to now be able to see any sort of leftovers that you have for those different types. So if you are for your floral, you're working up to a certain bunch quantity or something like that. You'll be able to quickly see while you're working in the proposal, how many leftovers do we have? So that's going to be over here on your components list. So that was highly requested. You now have that capability in order to see that here. The second thing that we're going to do, I'm actually going to jump over here to the order view. This is a big piece. I'm actually super excited. I really like this new functionality in the system. But you now have the ability to add an admin fee beneath the subtotal of the proposal right here. So in here, if you click right here where it says add admin fee, that will allow you to set up a fee. Basically, it's just like a line item. You can just set it up with just basically a line item. You can also link calculated properties in here as well. So I'm actually going to get rid of this one and I want to look at that's that new one that we built, but I want to look at this one, the food and beverage fee. I set this up. I linked this 18% right here for that food and beverage fee. And now that is going to populate beneath the subtotal of the proposal. So let me just hop over to the portal. Let's take a look at what that looks like over here. So you can see it. We've got the item subtotal, we've got the fee, this is the additional fee, we've got the sales tax, and then we've got the total of the proposal. So sometimes people, traditionally people would create like a little section that's got those different fees in there. You now have the capability to integrate those fees beneath the subtotal of the proposal, which is an incredibly helpful functionality that's in here. Okay. Okay. I think that's it for me. I'm going to pass it back to Brooklyn.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. Let me go ahead and share. And then I'm gonna just jump us right back into the workroom as well. So an update here that I'm gonna start us off with is in the payments tab. And so this is a request that we just made this a bit easier. You've always been able to send a receipt here, but this is just going to update this option of sharing the receipt. And so let me show you here. If you have a payment that you'd like to email a receipt, it's going to auto load the recipient. So you no longer have to go and copy and paste that within sending receipt with payments. So just autofill just save a step there, streamline the process. The next update we have is going to be around sharing the proposal itself. So when the time is ready and you want to send this off to your client, you can go ahead and hit share. We're going to share the portal. And then an update here is around the recipients of sharing the portal itself. So it's updating the behavior here of just only loading the main contact. And then you now have the option to add all portal contacts. So if you like to add a lot of contacts to your events, maybe there's a lot of vendors involved and so forth, you can choose to add all of those if you wish to send it to everyone. But we got a lot of feedback that that's not always the case. Typically, you're just wanting to send it to the direct contact. So we've updated that functionality there, where if you want to add everyone, you can, and it'll load in the other emails, but it'll just default to the main contact. So, and then talking about sending the proposal, we heard you. You want better looking emails. So we've made some updates here. And so I have just an example. It's structured much more like a standard email. We removed kind of that design element of the blue box, frame. We removed the messaging that the email has been powered by Curate just to feel a lot more like your own branding. And then you might notice in here, very top requested feature, the option to add in a photo. So this was just released this morning. So we're really excited about this one. You can now insert images as well into your email templates. Could be your branding image, could be logo image, anything that you'd like to include within the template itself. So just an update there to make it more professional and not look, like it's coming from Curate, it's coming from you. So we've got that updated. So excited about that. Hope you guys are too. And then another update around kind of sending the proposal is going to be enhancing the expiration visibility. We got a lot of feedback that this was kind of felt hidden. Your clients weren't necessarily seeing it easily. It was causing some friction of, when is the proposal expired? I didn't know that there was an expiration date. If you're not familiar with using the expiration dates, you can add that to your event here within the overview. There's going to be an input down here that says portal expiration. You can add that right there. And then when you share it, it's now going to be much more clear. And we've updated some logic around the timing of it. So there was also some confusion and friction with your clients around the expiration date expired at like 12:01 of the date versus at the end of the date. Kind of required some extra communication with them of, no, the proposal is expired, let me adjust it. And so now we've updated this. So when you select the date, it's very clear to your client that that expires at the end of that date, in case they need to take action, they'll be able to see that more clearly. So, yeah, some exciting things around expiration and just like visual presentation of sharing your event details with your clients. So, hope you guys are liking those updates. And then Shannon's going to take us through a handful of more updates, kind of take us out of the workroom. So, I will pass it off to her.
Okay, let me share my screen again. Yeah, I'm super excited about those the updates with the expiration date. I think that's so awesome. Okay. So now in here, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of hop through a couple of these different tabs just for some smaller updates that are kind of in a few different places. We'll start here. Actually, we're going to start here on the dashboard. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to pull this San Diego Wine and Culinary Event Center. So if you're not familiar, from the dashboard, you can choose the events that you want to look at here. I can click one event or two events, kind of whatever I want to do. If I do these the same day, I'm just going to pull prints for multiple things. But down here in this dashboard, this is where you can do a lot for the system. So if I want to edit in bulk, archive in bulk, delete in bulk, push things over to my integrations here, I can do those here in the system. This is also where you build a shopping list for multiple events at the same time. So we're going to kind of transition into that. But first, I want to look right here where it says view prints. We made an update here. Um, we've actually made a couple of updates here. One update here is that you now have a link to jump right into the proposal from the event. So if you're looking at your event and you want to just jump right over there, you now have that capability to just jump right back to the event from here. One other functionality I'll go ahead and give you a look at right now. It's not necessarily what we were planning on looking at today, but I feel like I should look at it while we're here. Another update is that uh, if I'm going to jump on this event overview right here, if I'm looking at this component totals table right here, you can now toggle on to see the purchase unit cost, the purchase quantity, and leftovers. So let me try to turn off a couple of things to pull that up higher on my list here. But you now have a couple of other columns that you can include here on that component totals table, which can be really handy. Sometimes people want to see the pricing. Sometimes people want to see the purchase quantity, how many leftovers. You can kind of choose what columns do I want to show on there. The next thing that we're going to look at is going to be in our shopping list. So if you know, you know, oh, sorry, game plan. If you know, you know for our shopping list. But I am going to go to this one. It's the San Diego Wine and Culinary Event Center. One update on the shopping list is now we do have totals by the category down here at the bottom. So if you're trying to look for like, okay, what's the total that I'm going to spend on floral for this event? What's the total that's going to be on food and beverage? What's the total that's going to be on rental? All of that is going to be here in the system so that you can kind of know what is the subtotal of everything that is going into this event so that you have a better idea of what that projected cost is going to look like with the breakdown of the category is going to be on there. The next thing that's here, I'm going to grab a couple of items for a purchase order. I'm going to create a purchase order that I'm going to send over to my supplier. So I'm going to do, just going to call it Curate Test. I'm going to grab a vendor and then I'm going to throw a fulfillment date on there. Okay. I'm going to go over here to view purchase order. So now whenever I'm sending an email over to my supplier, I'm shooting this over to my email. This is now going to include like how do you buy this 10 items per purchase units. Um that's there that you need. How many purchase units do we think we're going to need? How do I normally purchase that on here? And you can have any sort of notes on here that you may want to include as well. But it's just updating that email that's going to go over to your supplier to kind of make it more clear about what you're looking for, what you're asking for with this purchase order. Right. I'm going to hop over here to the contacts. Okay. In the contacts tab over here, in the filter button, you now have the ability to filter by venue. So if you want to show places that you have marked as venues, that is a marking in there where you can say that this is a venue so that they will show up on that venue list. You can do that here. As well as if you want to just see companies, anybody that's marked as a company, you just now have the capability to more filter down your list according to what you'd like to see in the system. Okay. Next one that has been really good. I utilize this a lot is now this capability and to do bulk edits on the rentals tab. You've probably seen that you have bulk edit here in the products or bulk edit here in the components, but now we also have it on the rentals tab. So maybe I want to change the category of all these. I'm going to do bulk select. You can also just pick some. I'm going to click edit right here. And this is how I can change them all to rentals. I'm going to change them all to rentals. The component category, you can change that as well if you want to. I'm going to change them all to rentals right there. And I'm going to click save. You can do a lot of bulk editing here, changing the price, changing the inventory. You can do a lot right here. But yeah, it's a great little scenario right here where you can change things in bulk right here on the rentals page. Okay. Last thing is going to be the events report. So I'm going to hop down here to my reports. I'm going to be on the events report and I'm going to throw a date range in here. So I'm going to say this month, but I'm actually going to expand that out to be through January, just so that I can get a better capture of events in here. And I'm going to generate the report. A couple of updates here. We did make an update right here where it'll show days to book. So if you're trying to check how many days do we have before booking, that's going to be here. You can see that in the system. And then we made some updates in the totals of the different sort of quantities in here. Of the different sort of, I'm sorry, not quantities, categories. The difference of the categories. We happen to have a lot of categories just because this is a sample account, but you can put the totals down here so that you can see exactly what they were. Sorry, I jumped out there. But that's going to be it. The totals of the categories are going to be there. And we also offered, added in there days to book. All right. I'm going to pass this back to Brooklyn to kind of take us through this next piece with the settings.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. Yeah, let's jump into settings. Let me share. Alrighty, so we're going to go down to our settings and cover some updates that you can have on your account. So one piece of feedback that we heard is that, I guess let me backtrack here. If we go on to events, right now the functionality is when you click this event, it takes you right into the workroom on the portal tab. We heard some feedback that sometimes that's not always the fastest. You all like to work on different views. So you would prefer when you click the event, it takes you somewhere else. So that is now an option. When you go to settings, you'll go down to the bottom where it says preferences, and then you can update where you want to land within the workroom. So when you click on that event, it can either take you to the portal, which is kind of the default of where you all are used to landing right now. It could take you to the orders page or recipes. So if you like to just jump right in, get right to the recipes, we can update this. So you can choose that on your account and then just make sure you hit save at the top. Once that is saved and we go back to an event, let me just click on one and I click here, it takes me right here to recipe view. So under orders. So just an exciting update. If you want to change that based off of where you typically like to work and get to quickest, update that in your settings. Another setting update that we have that a lot of folks have highly requested, so it is available now if you want to set it up, is going to be under payments. And then it will be part of your payments structure here. So I have Curate payments set up on this account. If I click the little wheel down here, it'll allow me to see the settings of my payments. And now you can restrict payments until they have signed the contract. So I know that was a highly requested feature from a lot of folks. You want them to, agree to terms and conditions prior to any kind of deposit, which makes total sense. So now you just check this box. So when it's enabled, they'll not be able to pay. It kind of locks them out. If they go to kind of pay, it'll give them a little prompt that, hey, you need to sign contracts before payment is allowed. And so that's just a setting here within your payment slide out if you'd like to get that set up. And then you just would hit save to enable that there. So just wanted to call that out. And then lastly, we have some updates to Google Calendar. So we will go to the integrations tab within settings. You'll go down to your Google Calendar if you have that connected. You'll hit the little wheel again and it'll open it up. So I have this one set up to connect to my calendar here. So we've updated some options here. You can now choose which pipeline stage you would like your events to be pushed to. So this will automatically push events to the connected calendar up here. And it'll reduce that manual work. So once this update is set into place, as your events are pushed into this stage, it'll push it over into Google Calendar for you as an initial sync. So that's something that you can get set up. If you have a lot of stages, you can pick and choose which one is your favorite, which one works best with your workflow. I have it set to booked. And another update that we have to Google Calendar is just the visibility of like untimed or like partially timed events. We heard some feedback that they were appearing very small on the actual Google Calendar itself. So I wanted to just kind of walk through building this out so that you all could see kind of what this looks like. So let's call this September 13th wedding event. I'll just add a person here. Let's select the 13th. And then I'm going to create this event and then we'll push it to my Google Calendar. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit create. Notice I didn't put a start timer in time, sorry. But there's no start timer in time on this one. So again, this kind of falls into that category of the untimed events and how does that look on Google Calendar. So let me, I'm gonna mark this as booked. It's updated. And then since I had that automation set up, it automatically went here as I hit booked. But it'll now kind of anchor, so it's following more of the traditional like Google Calendar functionality. So that event will appear anchored at the top. So no matter where you're scrolling, it'll be set up there. So just to help make sure things don't get lost in the shuffle as you have events that are untimed. Of course, if you are setting that specific time, it'll naturally fall within that time frame of kind of where that would be on your calendar. All right, and that takes us out of settings. So now we're going to take a look at some templates and some updates that we have there. So I know Shannon mentioned as we were in the workroom that you can now add tokens to those container headers, but you can now also add tokens in the email template subject line. So let me go here to my emails. I'll just click this one, happy birthday. So if we want to personalize and add a token to this email subject, we can go down here. You'll have the same functionality as you're probably used to in other areas of adding these tokens. So we could add the customer's first name, any type of, token, however you have that set up, you can add that as part of the subject. And then I know I mentioned this prior, but you can now add the images within the email content as well. You will find this option by clicking this little image icon within the editor, and then that will allow you to upload a photo. And then you can, once you upload it, you can kind of align it if you want it a particular place. I placed mine at the bottom, but it really lets you kind of insert it wherever you'd like. So you upload, it'll let you pick a photo here, and it'll place it wherever you want. It might come in kind of large, but you can kind of size it down. So a lot of options there. We're excited about that one. I know that was one of the top requests as well. So you can totally personalize your email templates now with photos, tokens. And then we also have an exciting update as well with these templates. If you're getting started and you want some kind of inspiration around what should I put in my email templates, we now have an option for you to explore templates. We're calling this a shareable template library. Right now, it is going to be email templates, but be on the lookout because we are working towards building this out with contract templates, timeline templates, payment templates. But these are going to be templates that are available for you to add to your own library of templates. And then, of course, you can customize and edit them. It can just be kind of an inspiration foundation for you to take a look. So if you wanted to add any of these, please go and click Explore Templates. And then you would just click Add to Library. So if you want to add this particular one, it'll add it to your library and then you will be able to edit that. So let me go back. Let's see. Let me refresh. But it will add to your library and then you can go through and edit it as you would need. So you can add different verbiage to it. You can add your own tokens. Not sure if something's going on with my internet at the current moment, but yes, you can add those. So feel free to explore. And like I said, there's some future email templates, or sorry, other template types coming to that shareable library that you'll have access to soon. So yeah, that pretty much covers
Yeah.
it on my end.
Yeah, I will say to kind of add to that, if you have some emails that you feel like have been huge parts of your business, they've been really helpful for bringing clarity between you and the customer or anything that you would like to submit, We are actively adding more templates into that section that other customers can take advantage of. Obviously, we wouldn't put your name on there. We highly value privacy or anything like that. But if you have anything that you would like to submit for us to add as a template for other people to take advantage of, that would be great. Definitely let us know. We would really appreciate that, and I know other people would appreciate that too. We did have some new releases today. Brooklyn, I don't know if we want to hit on a couple of those. Since we just have a few minutes. Let me go back to our list really quickly. Um, for what we released, some exciting stuff did come out. Um, we talked about the event expiration logic. We talked about the updated with the prints, and the portal tab. We'll just show one or two more. I'll just share my screen really quickly and we can look at one or two more really quickly. Feel free to submit any questions in there. I know I have a few more that I just haven't got to yet, but feel free to throw any questions in that box. I'm just going to show two more features that we did release today that are big, exciting updates. So one of those updates is that in the containers in the proposal, we have a new container type. So if you go right here where it says add content right here, and I scroll down to the very bottom, this is where you choose the different containers that you want to. We now have a single image box that you can now put into proposal. So people have different things that they would use that for. If you have something that you have built out, maybe on Canva or something like that, that you have put together, you can utilize this. So if I add it down here at the bottom, I'm going to put it up here above my inspiration board, and then I'm going to click on it to jump into that. You can just pull in an image. I'll see if I've got what sort of image that I've got in here that we may want to use. It could really be anything. I'm just going to use this one right here. Click on it and add it in here. So it is going to display that full image in the system. So if you have something else that you would want to be in there, um, you can, it could be a full documentation, a full display or something like that. But it is an exciting update that now you have that capability to throw that full update in there. You totally can in the system. So that's going to be here. Another update that's in here is that now you have a place where you can do in your automations tab, you now have the ability to, if I click, I'm going to click on this production team notification right here, but it is basically the ability that you can choose for an email to be triggered to a customer um, during your process. So if I set up a new automation right here, I'm going to say invitation to pay. I want to put an invitation to pay. I can say that when my event stage is updated to, if I have a certain stage, I'll say products ordered or something like that. I can send an email notification to my customer inviting them to pay. I can use like my payment reminder template and just say, hey, you have a payment that's due. So if you have a certain stage that you may want to associate that with, just another reminder, hey, you've got a payment that's due. So as soon as I move them to that stage, it'll trigger an email to them. So that's an exciting new feature as well. Okay. We have several questions that are coming through, which is great. Feel free to kind of throw those in there. We'll answer what we can in here. Um, um, for at Atlanta, you're asked, can you add more photos to the inspiration board? Yes, you totally can. You want to use the inspiration board that is going to be the masonry inspiration board. So I'm going to add it in here. If I click where it says add content, you can add this masonry grid inspiration board. If I add that to my proposal and I pull that up, That's gonna allow me to add up to 50 different images right there on that, inspiration board in the system. So you totally can add that. That's gonna be so many where you can pull those images in. Yep. Um, for, for that question, Adelina, about your percentages, I will say that you should have an email from us that's got a video on there showing how to do that. We can get you over another video for how to handle that situation. That's typically we can definitely handle that in there. Um, Okay, Alex asked, any update with gratuity? Yes. So the piece that we just released was a key piece for gratuity. This admin fee section was a key piece for that gratuity structure. So that foundation is done. That this is directly related to gratuity, actually. So the idea is you should be seeing something coming through soon. I know it's something that we're actively working on. I don't have an exact timeline, but yeah, this was a key piece that we were working on to kind of build that gratuity structure on. So now since that is done, we are able to work on that gratuity piece. So that is in progress right now. Yep. Okay. Okay. We do have to hop. Thank you guys for joining us here today. We'll send out an email. Just let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to jump into support right here with any sort of questions that you may have. But we'll send out a follow-up email a little bit later. You guys join us next month. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.